the new Parkway Theater, where good food, diverse entertainment, and community create a place for everyone. For showtimes and special events, check out www.thenewparkway.com.
You are listening to High School 510, where sports and comedy remain some culture.
Some client of his gave him like seats up front. It was amazing. Me and 3 other friends from high school. That was the first Laker game I went to. No, it might be the second. First Laker game I went to was after Magic Johnson retired from having AIDS and the tickets got cheap. Everybody they were just giving them away. Me and my dad went twice.
Like, man, we get some cheap tickets.
We got some cheap tickets. Sat next to Alfonso Ribeiro.
What was he doing, the Carlton?
Man, he got mad because I kept calling him Carlton. And he was with some lady that kept calling Carlton.
Back then, there was so much confusion around AIDS. They probably thought the tickets had AIDS.
They probably did. Like, oh man, these tickets got AIDS. I gotta get rid of this. Gave it to us with gloves on.
It's like,
You're right about that.
Yeah, one of them Kevin Spacey hazmat suits from Outbreak.
Exactly. Between that and Michael Douglas.
How's another Dodger flame out in the World Series gonna affect your?
You know what? Jared's been around for the last 2.
He handles it well.
Yeah, I am.
Are you a Dodger fan?
I am a Dodger fan.
Are you from LA originally?
Uh-huh.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm a Dodger fan. But
I hope they get over the hump. I don't have any. I'm more anti-Giants than I am anti-Dodgers. As an A's fan.
You're an A's fan?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. I always tell
I
people
can't
this.
stand the Giants.
Oh, dude, I couldn't stand listening to Giants, especially
when they won those 3.
Oh, it was brutal. And what's weird is the 5-year since really validates what I was saying back in 2014. That this team is garbage, and they've won 3 World Series. I don't know how.
Thanks to the wild card.
They got the luckiest.
For 2 of them, it was all wild card.
The most incredible convergence of luck and timing
Yes.
that any team I've ever seen. Whereas the A's, that 2001
it's just
team,
like the
2003
opposite,
team, everything went wrong.
You know, Dusty Baker said
And
this.
Bochy's a great manager.
Dusty Baker said this as a player. He said they asked him what was harder, winning a pennant or winning the World Series. This is when he was managing the Giants and they were losing. He said, winning a pennant.
2 divisions.
Yeah, they wanted to. He's like, winning a pennant is harder. He said, to win a World Series, you just got to be lucky. He said you got to have
That's what Billy Bean says.
a bat you had.
Once you get in,
it's a crapshoot. You can need a hot bat, a hot pitcher, or you can win it. He said, but back in the day before we had all the wild cards and all the playoff teams, he was like, it was almost impossible. You have to have a good team. You have to be a good team.
You have to be legitimate.
No bad team.
Yeah, more than the last year of the old 2-division format, the Giants won 103 games and
didn't get in.
Because the Dodgers on the last day of the
knocked
season
them out. And
they won 103 games and don't make the playoffs.
I remember Matt Williams cursing out Earl Hershiser.
Will Clark's last year on the Giants.
That was my last year in LA. Loved it.
I bet you did. As an Ace fan.
It was crazy, but I actually liked Barry Bonds as a player.
Kind of ending that year.
Yeah, before his ego got too much, I liked Barry Bonds then, and I remember I ran into him at a hotel.
Back when he would do the twirls after a home run.
Yeah, I ran into him, and he had the most beautiful luggage I ever seen. I went to
probably made out of the same material as his recliner, his clubhouse recliner.
Yeah, I remember he had that huge
that leather.
Probably had some
Custom leather, yeah.
custom black giraffe.
Barry doing Barry.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the skinny Barry before he got
lean Barry.
And he was there at the hotel I was at.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Oh, 93.
Barry Bonds' luggage is right here. And it was like, man, it was fabulous. I was like, this
turned out to be one of the best free agent contracts that any team's ever given.
Yeah.
But he had the Willie Mays Godfather connection, so I think he was ultimately meant to be a Giant.
They built the stadium because of him. Mm-hmm. They got a stadium built.
They now want to move the fences in because they're...
Because they can't, no one else can hit it out there.
They call that the house that Ruth built or made?
They say the Coliseum and Oracle Park are the 2 most difficult home run hitting parks. Yeah, the A's have like 4 guys that hit 30 bombs.
yeah, every year, and the Giants can't get it. Brandon Belt ends the year with 14 home runs.
Bell's lips bigger than his batting average.
Brandon Belt has 3 World Series rings. That tells you that the world is not a just place.
He also has a career full of mediocrity.
That's really kind of almost what is the most annoying thing about the Giants and their fans is that they hang on. They hang on to just the ideas about what things are with their team. Like Vernon Bell this is gonna be the breakout year.
Yeah, he said
He's like
He's coming
34, coming off like a 246 season with like 14 home runs, 69 RBIs. I'm like, no, this is the year.
This is
still,
year.
and they'll rationalize with a bunch of BS stats. And
Somehow,
he's the best defensive.
Somehow, according to them, Crawford is the best shortstop.
Man, he's so tight at shortstop.
We've seen all these great shortstops come and go in the Hall of Fame, and
But he's not hitting
since
this
Crawford, and it's like Crawford's the best shortstop. Not bad.
He has
but
the
he ain't
highest
the
fielding
best.
percentage
He's
or
above
whatever.
it. Yeah, he's good defensively.
He's a good fielding percentage because he can't get to a lot of balls.
He gets whatever comes to him. He gonna get.
He gonna get them out.
That's where the stats have kind of convoluted things.
It is. That's
the
where
sabermetrics. You got to
that's
look
how-
closely.
Yeah. That's how
Yeah,
Jeter
what is
was.
his range?
Jeter was one
Yeah,
of those
his
guys with
range
the high
is-
fielding percentage
Although
because
I
he couldn't
gotta
get to
say,
anything.
every day I'm checking the box scores for the A's games, and Marcus Simeon is
Oh, he's-
starting to quiet a son of a Cal
Yeah.
receiver. Remember Simeon on that early '90s Cal team? He is quietly becoming one of the best all-around shortstops in the
Yeah, he's having a great
Well,
year.
he's
He hit his
hitting
30th ball
now
today.
too. Yeah, he's hitting. He's hitting,
RBIs.
and his fielding. He looks a lot smoother and just comfortable when he's fielding.
30th.
Is this the end of the contract year for him?
Maybe trying to make that money. Hey, the A's got him so they can try and keep him. Remember, they don't get the best of the best. we have a theory about the A's
Oh, Tim got so bad.
that one of our friends who's a diehard A's fan and an apologist / defender of anything whatever
Can't
his
say
team
nothing bad about
whatever team he likes, you can't say anything bad about him, right? And he'll go with whatever their decisions are and just try and find a way to trust it and rationalize it. We were talking about our theory, which is the A's, they always seem to get good young talent, but never any talent that has a ceiling to be necessarily great on a regular basis. Whereas it feels like all these young prospects that are like
We talked about the
generational
Dodgers.
talents at different teams. And so we were talking about how the Dodgers seem to have a lot of like really good young talent, some players that are going to be great or already becoming great players. Whereas the A's never seem to get that same talent. And so
And
our
they've
theory,
had double the amount of draft picks than the Dodgers.
so our theory is that the A's purposely, you always say don't date up, date down, so you can secure the bag. It's a similar thing. The A's draft down instead of drafting up. So like there might be a generational prospect that they could try and draft, but they're like, well, let's get the guy that's like right behind him. It's close right now, but we know his ceiling is probably a little bit less, so that when a contract does come up, we have a better chance of re-signing him. And
Yeah, kind of like they like to make things difficult on themselves. But I really think what it comes down to is the signing bonus. A lot of those top picks
Demand a higher
they
one.
demand the signing bonus, and they've never had the infrastructure with ownership that would be willing
Yeah.
to pay a ton of money up front and then deal
That's
with
true.
whatever happens later.
yeah, that could be part of it. That's why you don't take the girl that has expensive taste out. You know what I'm saying? You get
Right.
the one that's down just to,
Sure.
hey, let's Netflix and chill. Hey, how about I call in a little order from the little local,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying,
This was like
takeout spot.
shopping at
So-
Crossroads before it became trendy.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
So
I'm gonna
maybe
take
their
you to a thrift
international
store.
scouting is the equivalent to like their Tinder,
Yeah,
They're,
That's where they go.
they're maximizing their options.
yeah, just swipe right on
spreading out-
everything.
They're extending their field of catch.
Whatever happened to that Japanese dude? All right, well, should we start the show, guys? Yani, I need a letter.
How about why?
Aaron, we gotta start keeping track of this, man.
You
We
know,
gotta
let's
have to
start
keep
now. Let's start
statistics.
now.
I can go back to the audio and listen to it, but we
Go
gotta
to
keep
audio right
statistics.
now. Letters.
Letter.
Wait, have someone gave you a Y before?
I don't
I
think
don't know
so.
if you ever gotten a Y. That's nice though.
Yeah, so I'm doing my vocal warm up, and typically I ask people for a letter, and they almost like probably 85-90% of the time give the letter of their first name, the first letter of their first name. Anyways, why? You, yum, yiddy yee, Mau Mau, Youngstown, Yucatan, Yoruba. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the High Score 510 podcast. You can catch us on Instagram, Twitter, and the YouTube at High Score 510. And check us out on Stitcher and Podbean, our main listening programs. Also, you can check us out at highscore510.com. Anyways, we are here with...
This is Aaron Grayson, AG, also known as AG3. I'm coming at you faster than a well-aware woman in 2015 running out of all-gender bathroom in Pittsburgh after Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown walk in.
A buxom woman with big breasts.
And we are also here with...
My name is Yani of Yani Made Art.
All right, what color you want?
Teal.
That's teal, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Man, he's color, man. I haven't heard somebody say teal in a long time, other than when I hear people talking about the Sharks.
Come on.
What's your name, girlfriend? Dwight Williams, but the boys call me D, so you call me D. D. Yeah, bro? Yeah, like the way I handle these white boys, D. Oh, yeah. It make you feel good to see a black man run down, huh? Malcolm X. But let me tell you something, D. Yeah, bro? Why don't you come close?
I hated that movie. Another movie I hated.
Yanni,
That's,
you know what movie that's from?
No, I don't.
Was it Major Payne?
Yeah, Aaron did it.
Is it Damon Wayans?
Yeah, Damon Wayans.
Oh, man.
So we're doing grab bag today because Jared did not prep any new sound bites, so that's my bad. And my name is Jared, aka DJ Art. 2 T's for a double dose of that tink tink. The D is silent, so it's just Jart.
Benny, why'd you put this orange juice in the refrigerator with just a swallow left in the container? Bill, why'd you leave me the hell alone? But that don't make no sense. You should have just finished it. Don't put it back in the refrigerator with just a swallow in the container. I get my mouth all set for some orange juice, and it's just a swallow in the container. Well, swallow it and shut the fuck up.
I watched Jerry Seinfeld and Eddie Murphy have like a little panel discussion last night on YouTube. That's a good watch.
Oh, is that the coffee with
Comedians and coffee?
Yeah,
he got like
they say Eddie Murphy's was great. That's what I keep hearing.
What's crazy is you never saw those two together conversing until now, but they were two of the original stand-ups in the 70s coming up together in New York.
Oh.
So they had a mutual admiration for each other long before, and then they had the separate career paths.
Yeah.
And now they're having this really
converging.
cool discussion with all this common history that you
Yeah.
didn't realize because you thought of them as totally separate.
Yeah, you do.
But they got a
Well,
strong connection.
It's
going way back.
interesting to like hear about some of the the communities of comics and like how I think a lot of comedians back each other up because like it's so difficult to achieve success and then sustain any form of it as a comedian. There's so many people who are just doing small clubs, small venues, and open mics. And so I always wonder, like, you know, maybe with the Dave Chappelle stand-up and him being friends with Louis C.K., I didn't think they were friends, but like a lot of these people know each other, especially as they rise to the ranks. They have probably some shared stories, shared histories, and experiences. It's like a really cool thing to think about that how much a community there is with stand-up comedians, especially ones who travel around the country. The only time I've ever seen comedians not stand up for each other are basically like that motherfucker's whack is when they steal jokes from each other.
Yeah.
And that's like the one thing I think you could like sleep.
That's the only thing
you
you
could
can
sleep
do.
with their girlfriends. Like you could like be you could be that other dude or other woman, and they'll find a way to get around it. They'll find a way to make new material from it. But like once you start stealing jokes from people, that's when like you
get ostracized. Yeah.
Other comedians be like that dickhead or that motherfucker.
Oh yeah, that's one of the cardinal sins.
Yeah.
Amy Schumer's name seems to come
That's
up
what
a
I
lot.
said. Yeah, I was
Schumer.
saying,
I hear her name come
Just
up a lot.
stealing
with that.
jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I heard Dane Cook was somebody who that's one of the
Dane
reasons why
Cook,
he
yeah, that's
fell off
another
kind of
person that they
is he
say
lost the
stuff.
respect to all the other comedians.
Yeah.
So
He lost mine just by acting. From Good Luck Chuck. That's how he lost mine.
he lost mine from what was that Employee of the Month movie or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I never saw it, but I was like,
You know what?
this is
Maybe
terrible.
maybe he gained my respect because he used his 15 minutes of fame well. He knew I got 15 minutes. I'm gonna use them all up now. No need to hold on. That last minute it's gonna be worth less.
Yeah, he sure disappeared.
Yeah.
He went quick.
When I was in college, he was huge.
He
playing
was.
those like oval, like circular, rotating circus stages where he
Yeah.
had the whole arena.
Wow.
I remember
Yeah,
that.
he
I
was
remember
big.
that. Yeah.
I remember having an ex-girlfriend that was super into him, and she was like, "Aaron, I got his tickets." I was like, "Have fun."
I know Todd used to like some. Do you guys used to commiserate over Dane Cook stand-ups?
No, we never got into that much. We were most commiserating over Game 5 losses with the A's. Just about every, I think that was every year of college, 2001
Oh,
to
my
2005.
God.
So that brings me back. So you are a true Bay Area, East Bay especially.
Oh yeah, I should close
fan.
that. I should close that loop.
No, I'm about to close it with this question. Wait till you hear this one.
Yeah.
So Jared came out the other day with this claim, and he said, so let's say the Warriors win 2 more titles, which is an extreme hypothetical, but I'll let it go. He said if they win 2 more titles, then Draymond Green will go down as one of the top 5 Warriors of all time.
I asked the question. I said,
so now this
would
is hard
he,
for you.
Would he
He
go
asked,
down?
would he? Now, I know it might be harder for you. You're too connected. You don't have to answer if you don't want to because you're connected. But he said Draymond Green as a top 5 Warrior all time. I give Draymond Green all the respect he deserves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my answer when Jared asked this question was, you sure it was a question?
It was a question.
Your belief in it didn't make me think it was a question.
No.
I said, hell no, right? I said,
Let me explain.
Yeah, go ahead and explain.
It was a hypothetical question. I said, if the Warriors win 2 more titles, or maybe even just 1, but if they for sure win 2 more titles, right? With the same core, Draymond stays healthy and is still the integral cog that he is right now, maybe even more so. In the Warriors franchise history, does Draymond Green go down as a top 5 Warrior all time? And I'm thinking of it also in the way that he will have spent his basically entire productive career with the Warriors. And we're talking about just the Warriors franchise, not a top 10 NBA player, not a top 10 player that just like talent-wise showed up and played for the Warriors for a couple seasons and then left. Just like what you mean for the franchise, would he be in your top 5? Kind of like, what does he mean to the franchise if they win 2 more titles with him being the dude who they didn't start winning playoff games series until he showed up. You know what I'm saying? They were losing them, and then he showed up, and they became a lot better too. If they win 2 more titles, Draymond Green's still a key component to it. As in the Warriors franchise history, would you be able to consider him maybe a top 5 Warrior? And I understand most people are going to say no, but I'm just saying if you can put yourself in that moment, would you put him as potentially a top 5 Warrior?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think you got to unpack sentimentality from actual, on-court achievements. A lot of fan bases get attached to guys, that played maybe over a stretch of 3 to 6 to 7 years. Like Monta Ellis, for example, he gets in the moped accident, and then his skills kind of regress a little bit, and then they trade him, and then he's an afterthought. But he's always going to be a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Guys that never quite reach that elite level. I think the question probably best suited to be is Draymond, in terms of his basketball merit, one of the best 5 of all-time Warriors. And if he wins 2 more titles, that's 5 titles, or 5 championships and 7, finals appearances. I think that's pretty legitimate. Those 2 could have gone either way with injuries or some bad luck with LeBron's block of Iguodala. I think definitely he could be considered that. I think Steph is going to take one of those spots.
Yeah.
You're probably always going to consider Rick Barry, Al Attles, Nate Thurman, Wilt Chamberlain be in the conversation. Are you going back, franchise?
Wilt Chamberlain is in that conversation.
But how long did Wilt Chamberlain play for the Warriors?
Oakland years?
He said Warriors.
San Francisco Warriors.
He said Warriors.
I said Warriors franchise, but what they meant to the franchise. This is, and a big part of it is that if they do win 2 more titles, this is by far the most successful period the Warriors have ever had.
And if they do,
a successful run, and and part of it is sentimentality in that question. It's not about who are the best 5 Warriors to ever play in a Warriors jersey. That's a totally different question, and that's what I'm not asking. I'm asking if they win 2 more titles with what Draymond has meant to the team. You know what I'm saying?
If we've now defined the question that way, I'd say you put Chris Mullin in there.
I said the same thing.
I'm wearing the jersey.
Better than Mullin.
I almost forgot I'm actually wearing the 92, 93.
I see Draymond Green as having been more important than Chris Mullin.
Because of the championships.
He's more important.
But in terms of if you're spanning the whole history, I think Mullin could be in there.
Yeah.
But I think Steph and Clay are going to take 2 of those 5
and
spots.
that's where it becomes hard for Draymond.
And we're assuming if Draymond wins 2 more titles, Clay is also on that team.
Yeah.
So Clay will have the same amount of titles as Steph and Dre. So
I think most people assume like what I've heard most is people are like, basically, if you're considering Draymond in top 5, Clay and Steph are definitely in the top 5. Then I was like, I kind of consider that. That would obviously, I think that's kind of obvious. I'm just trying to see this, like, there's no, like, it took Derek Jeter however many years playing for the Yankees, being mediocre but overhyped, to be able to be considered one of the greatest Yankees of all time. It is hard to be put, like, the dudes who won in the mid 90s, the other players that were big, Bernie Williams, they're not going to put him on the same tier as Mantle and DiMaggio or whoever them other dudes were, or Ruth. I'm just saying, like, there is a lot that goes into that happening. There's the Warriors, I don't think, have that set in stone era of, like, this was their dominant era. They were the best team for an extended period of time, and this era could be that era where the Warriors are the best team for a decade, and they set records, they win titles, and they are, like, this is their Hall of Fame. This is their Rushmore, where their Rushmore starts. Yes, the history would say otherwise, but this is their Rushmore era. The Yankees had it really early on, like 100 years ago, right? But like, who's to say those mid 90s and late 90s Yankees teams, had they not had that history from before, wouldn't be the Mount Rushmore at this point. So it is a temporal question that can be a little bit, convoluted, but you have to, like, ruminate through that stuff. I think
you, like a lot of fans, put too much on winning championships. Yeah, I think you, and it doesn't. There's no offense to Draymond Green and what he means. I think he means a lot he meant the world for the Warrior championships, but you still put too much on it, and by you putting too much on it, you put too much on his legacy of his career. You know what? Why don't we treat championships like we treat albums, right? Like Prince. I'm a big Prince fan. Prince, Purple Rain, great album, won a Grammy, right? To me, one of his greatest albums, Love Sexy. He says it. Prince, that was like he said that was his best album he ever made. Won nothing. Do we trash that? Like, we trash players for not winning? Do we overhype Purple Rain because it won a Grammy? Do we overhype things? Put too much on championships. I think, you know what it is? You waited so long for a title as a Warrior fan. You waited so long. He helped achieve that. You also liked him in college, even though he couldn't do shit in college.
he was tight in college, right?
He was not tight in college.
He was tight.
There's a reason he was drafted late. He was not tight in college.
But can we agree this question is a lot easier to answer for the Warriors than it is for the Yankees, who have many dynasties throughout the last 100 years? The Warriors have a big vacuum from, like, 1976 to about 1990, minus a couple, the Run TMC era.
They had a small window
there for 2 years. You had Weber for a year. But other than that, there was a lot of mediocrity. So I think it's a lot easier to consolidate.
It is.
The most meaningful, I would say, if you had to come up with five, you'd go Rick Barry, Wilt Chamberlain, then you'd maybe go Steph, Clay, Draymond, or you could toss in Nate Thurman or Al Adelson. Al Adelson was also the coach of the 75 team.
Yeah.
So
I think there's
a coach.
Yeah, I think there's a shorter list than people realize. A lot of people are like, no, definitely not. And I understand Aaron's argument, and it's not about titles. It's like, what did this player mean to the franchise? The titles are the pinnacle of the franchise. Like, I don't want a player who scored 25 points for me average 25 points a season and 8 rebounds or whatever, was a great player for a team that never did anything, and his whole career was just basically not even, like, as good as Charles Barkley. At least Charles Barkley had him in contention.
But it's all situation, though.
I know. I understand the situation, like, but that's why I say what it means to the franchise, because the franchise is going to remember you for being great and what you did for the franchise to keep
that's the question.
Keep it afloat.
Is he a top 5 player because of what he meant to the franchise?
That's what I've been saying. I keep saying in relativity to what he means to the franchise. I didn't say because of his production. I never. If I went on stats, I'd be like, hell no, he's maybe 15th.
Because to look at that, you had to be what you two are to Warriors, what you two are, to the A's. You have to be more emotionally invested. I'm not emotionally invested like that. So for me, it's hard to say what a player means to the franchise. All I can say is, yes, he's very integral. He's a smart player.
Yeah.
He plays hard. He's not as skillful as other on the team.
Yeah.
But then by my not being tied into the teams that lost too, I still see Hall of Fame
But you still
players.
have a more objective lens to it too, which is important. And so that's why, like, I get your where you're coming at from it. I just think, like, there is something that can be said just for what he meant to the franchise. And I'm not saying he's top 5. I can't even assert that. I'm not saying that I assert that. But I do think it is way more of an actual tangible debate if they win 2 more titles, by the way. Than people realize. But yeah, bringing it back, it's like the whole debate about Draymond or what the 5 best players, top players, franchise history for the Warriors is. It's like you have a more objective lens on how you're going to look at it. Yani and I have more of a fanhood of watching this team throughout the last our lifetimes, like, pretty closely, and seeing it evolve. And realizing like how important like this core is right now, and like we're not going to appreciate it, I don't think, in the same way, or like it's hard for us to appreciate it in the same way that people like maybe like 30 years from now are going to be like, man, that was an era, that was a tight era for that team, that was a dynasty, whatever they want to call it, especially if they win 2 more titles.
Yeah.
So I think there is much to be said, and I think the main thing is that there's a much shorter list of people that Draymond Green is fighting to get to that top 5 Warriors franchise player for what they meant for the franchise than we realized. I would say he's very close, if not maybe already in there, if they win 2 more titles, that is. Do you think that the Warriors should bring in Carmelo Anthony for a workout or sign him just outright?
Well, I've heard this tossed around a lot in the media. I think it is a little weird that he hasn't gotten more workouts or opportunities to get added to a roster. I'm not sure what the politics are, but I don't know. This guy. He's old. He's not going to play defense.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a premium for the Warriors to have guys that can do everything right now.
Mm-hmm.
Just because they're going to be a less talented and less deep roster.
Yeah.
I don't see him being able to play within the Warriors system. I see him as a kind
Yeah.
of a ball-heavy, dominant,
He'll be their Kevin Durant when they only want to have him on the court, though. Kevin Durant needed to be on the court.
See, but the problem is he won't be happy. And so the thing is, you could bring in an older, like a Jamal Crawford, right? Like someone who, guess what? Jamal Crawford's sitting there for 2 periods, and then you put him in the 3rd period, you can put him in, and he's still happy. He's going to go out there, he's going to be that ball dominant, because that's what Jamal Crawford is. But guess what? You're not going to get any bitching or moaning about not playing over. Like Jamal Crawford goes games where he gets 12 minutes, and there's games where he gets 25. You never hear him complain. Carmelo Anthony ego won't let him do that.
Yeah.
I never was in love with Carmelo Anthony's game. I like the 2-point shooting he does, but I never was in love because he just did one thing well, and that was just score. And for me, but it was a volume. It was a volume score. It wasn't like one of those like scorers who it was about moments or times. It was just volume. That's all he could do, just volume and score. Like he's like the best playground player ever. Without the playground like flashiness, he was the best playground because it's like, hey man, he scores.
We going to 12?
We going to 12? Guess what? We gonna beat everyone to 12 because he gonna score 12. Dude, you saw him in that pickup game recently? No one touched the ball but him. I mean, and I give him credit. He was like, was he at UCLA or something? He was at a college, and you could tell he was playing against college guys.
Yeah.
Because they were athletic. They weren't like guys who were all scrubs. But he did not pass the ball.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you got guys on the team. I'm looking like one of those guys. I saw him rebound. I'm like, he can dunk. Like these aren't scrubs, and you're still not passing the ball. Like, this is footage from the whole pickup game. You have not passed the ball once you got it. You've hit it from all over, but you haven't passed it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm like, he's not making it easy for himself to be signed anywhere if he's going to come in after being out of the league for a year now, basically, and expecting to be like, I'm a starter, I'm a key component to this offense, I'm a key component to this team, and you should take me as such. Now, hopefully he's changing his tune, having not been in the league for the year and having not even his friend have his team sign him. Maybe his asking price will come down a little bit. I'm just thinking.
I don't think it is asking price.
I think it's asking price. It's probably asking price with the component of if he signs for whatever he's expecting to start. Even if you sign him to like $900,000 a year contract, he can be like, I'm a starter though, right? I'll take a pay cut, but I'm starting, right? And so my thing is, I asked the question because I think this is a transitional year for the Warriors. It's a lot of emphasis being put on the transitions. They've lost some key components of their team. Kevin Durant, obviously, whatever. But Livingston and Iguodala are going to be big losses that I think are understated. And I mentioned that before. Shout out to Sean Livingston retiring today. Sponsorship. Come on our show.
That was yesterday.
Yesterday, sorry.
He was camping in Canoe.
Yeah, camping in Canoe. They were a big part of the identity of the team. They've lost that identity. And I'm not saying that they want to just completely like try and change the culture and get rid of the identity of the team, but this is an opportunity for you to take a chance on a 1-year deal maybe with a player, especially with Clay being out, where you can get somebody who can manufacture buckets in spurts and at times. You have somebody that you can dump it down to one-on-one. I'm not saying he's great at it anymore, but
he's not great. It takes him more shot attempts to get up to that point, to get up to 19 and 20 points.
He can still shoot it, and he can play with his back to the basket. And if anything, he can get to the line. He's been always good at getting to the line. I'm just saying, as another piece, if he's willing to come in, I think would be an interesting addition to help the Warriors with scoring, because scoring is going to be at a premium for them, and defensively they're not going to be as good regardless. So I'm like, if you're not going to, the defense is not going to be the same.
I think the question is, what role is he filling? The Warriors are a system, offense and system team. And I don't think Carmelo fits any of the vacancies that they've got.
But even
they went away from it with Durant, but Durant was high end.
I know.
So
I know.
His defense was underrated. You got
Durant was tight on
D.
D.
You need tall, athletic guys who have wind, who have some ages on their side, who are going to fill a role in the team. We already have now. It seems like an offensive heavy team with some defensive liabilities.
Well,
I don't think D'Angelo Russell's known
he's
as
not
a great defender for his size.
He's savvy.
Steph works at it, but
he's
undersized.
He's not good.
Yeah, he holds it down if you have Clay there.
Yeah, he tries.
Yeah. Well, because Clay takes up a lot of that slack.
Yeah, he'll guard the best guard.
So I don't think Carmelo. I think he's an odd fit.
And
I'm not saying he couldn't be for another NBA team, but I wouldn't say he would be the guy.
And I'm not saying he's a good fit. I'm just saying
Or I wouldn't even consider it.
Really?
I think it's a distraction from moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring him in either.
I could see that being the case. I'm just thinking.
Even if he were to, all of a sudden, check his ego at the door and say, I'm willing to come on and play off the bench, I still would hesitate.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Like, how long would this last?
I fully agree with you guys. I'm just saying at this point in his career, this is kind of a make or break it deal for him. He's at the point where if he doesn't get in the league this year, he's probably never back in the league, right?
Yeah.
And maybe he does check his ego at the door. I'm just saying the Warriors can always use that guy who can manufacture a bucket or get to the line, slow the pace down. They did it when they were installing this young team when they had Carl Landry. When the pace of the game was getting a little out of hand or the other team was on a run, what did they do? Dump it down to Carl Landry. Carl Landry was going to get a good look in the post, or he was going to get to the line, and that's I think there's something invaluable to that.
Carl Landry also played hard too.
Yeah, but Melo with the ball in his hands on offense, like it's your turn to have the ball, Melo. He can be like, yeah, my turn to play hard. When the ball out of my hand, I'm just going to jog down the court.
Nah, but you know what? But Chauncey Billups said this, Jerry.
Yeah.
He said it like recently when this whole Carmelo thing was coming up, and like he wasn't and Chauncey Billups was like, look, I'm gonna share a story. When I was in the Knicks with him, and he said there were times that we would win, like a close game, and Carmelo would have 12 shots and 17 points, and said you would think he was the worst person to have in the locker room. He was mad at everybody. He was bitching. He was just complaining. And they were like, he was the worst player to have around. They said, but then there were games that they got blown out, that they should have won, or they just lost. And Carmelo had, he said it was games where he had 38, almost 40, or games he had 40. So he was the greatest teammate there. He's picking up guys. Don't worry, we'll get him next time. He's like, it was such a different attitude. You don't want that in your locker room, Jared. I hate to say it. This is who he is.
Okay.
I understand what you want. Yeah, what you want sounds great, but who he is not going to give you what you want.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm just.
It's not 2012.
Yeah.
Put it out
not.
there.
How did you feel when Durant came to the Warriors?
Yeah, I was excited. I was amazed. I was like, oh, this is incredible. He felt like the exact piece that would fit.
Oh yeah, he's that piece of fit.
Night and day. You go from the Carmelo hypothetical to go back to 2016 in July when he signed. Given what had just happened, he seemed like the missing piece to the puzzle, and it turned out it was true. I think I agree. They maximized and realized the potential of what that system offense could do with that plugging in that hole, that tall athletic forward who could ball handle, who could just do everything. He could play defense. I was over the moon, and I think it showed that it was made for some of the best basketball we've ever seen. And I think he got a lot of blowback, which is too bad because I think it ended up driving him out. But he's a complicated dude, so I think he's always meant to kind of drift and to be looking for what he can't find. But in terms of just the on the court achievement, it was incredible. I think that's the best team I've ever seen.
I was angry.
Oh yeah, you were.
I was bitter.
This is a sore spot for Aaron.
I was upset. I was like Stephen A, but without yelling.
See, this is.
No, you did some yelling. This
is what I can't get over is this argument that somehow the Warriors built a super team because Durant came to the Warriors. This is all I've heard for the last 3 years. They developed the whole core. Draymond was drafted, 2nd round pick. Clay was drafted. Steph was drafted. You had the foresight. I'm talking about the front office. Had the foresight to let Mark Jackson go and bring in Steve Kerr, who had never coached before.
Yeah.
And look what happens. They win a championship. They were within seconds and one shot away from winning a second. Then you bring in one of the best players in the league who had 8 years in Oklahoma City, who could not win a championship with the teams they had assembled there. Mm-hmm. Clearly playing with a ball hogging kind of.
He also was a ball hog too himself, though.
A little out of control. Well, yeah.
I mean, they both were the same player.
They were both the same.
Let's
player.
not act like everyone always act like
One could shoot better.
Yeah, one just shot
well,
better.
within that offense, they might have been the same player, but it's clear that when KD came to the Warriors and integrated himself into that offense, it was a much superior brand of basketball.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna agree.
Yeah. So, just the whole statement that somehow this was a super team. When you look at what LeBron had just done a few years earlier by leaving his hometown state and his team. And just abandoning ship and then signing with the Banana Boat
so listen
coalition.
Well, no, when
building that team with the Heat, that's a super team.
When he came back to Cleveland, he built a super team because he got your boy traded there, Kevin Love, and he went to a team that had Kyrie.
Twice. Yeah, I'm not super team.
I'm not saying it was a super team.
I built a super team by going to a team that had the number one draft pick 2 years in a row.
Hey.
No, that was not a super team. He didn't build. Bringing in Kevin Love does not make a super team. Bringing in Kevin Love meant you had to work harder to because you really could see that this dude on a good team ain't good.
I'll tell you what happened. Everyone thought Kevin Love was a superstar in the league.
No, then we learned he wasn't.
Well, I
didn't think he was.
Okay, I'm just telling you though. But perceptions change and people forget about what they were actually saying and what was going on. Kevin Love was a sought after piece. They tried to trade Kevin Love straight up for Klay Thompson. I remember that, and I was like, no, because I'm on the same line as you. I thought Kevin Love was overhyped. He
was a bad player. He was, He was the best player on a crappy team.
Yes.
And what I always say, the NBA is not like the NFL. NFL, when they lose a good player, when Drew Brees went down, right today, when Ben Roethlisberger went down today, when one of the wide receivers, when Doug Baldwin retired last year, they didn't say, oh man, this guy's going to get Doug Baldwin 16 touchdowns. This guy's going to get Drew Brees' pass. No. NBA is much different. Somebody's going to get the points.
Yeah.
You might not get as much, but you're still going to get a lot.
Yeah, he got a lot of rebounds too, but I'll say this. I do agree. He was overhyped. He was on a bad team, but he was one of the most sought-after players that people were trying to trade for.
Yeah, remember the Boston thing?
Thank you to Jerry West and the foresight of the team to be like, hell no, don't trade for that, because they were like, oh man, we get Steph, Kevin Love, and Draymond. That would be an even better team than Klay. And some people were like, yeah, go for it. No, but Kevin Love was thought of as that piece, a piece, and that's what LeBron
Jared,
went to.
I need you to agree. I need you to agree with how I was feeling when Jerry West gifted the Lakers Paul Gasol. I was pissed. I didn't think the Lakers deserved it. Not for fucking Kwame Brown. I was pissed, and I said, this is not what Kobe deserves right now. He deserves to wallow, to bitch, to do everything because he destroyed the Laker franchise. Let's fast forward. When LeBron built that team in Miami, I wanted them to lose every game they could, right? I was one of those people that was blaming LeBron when the store didn't have the kind of milk I want. It was LeBron's fault.
Everything LeBron fault.
No 2%, LeBron fault. I want almond milk. You only got soy. LeBron's fault.
Like when you got a Tyson Dino McNuggets, man, LeBron's
fault. Wait. When I found out Morningstar didn't use real meat, LeBron's fault.
Man, when they stopped selling bottles of Tabasco at Costco, LeBron's fault.
Yeah. Everything. LeBron's fault. What? Costco no longer, they only got the all chicken ramen? LeBron's fault. So my thing with the Durant thing, it robbed me of two things. First thing, it robbed me of competitiveness, right? I can't get mad at the Warriors. I wasn't mad at the Warriors. The only person I was mad at was Durant. I wasn't mad at the Warriors. You got to try to improve your team. You just lost the title, I was mad at Durant because this team just beat you after you had a 3-1 lead and everything else. And you also played like shit. I was feeling like I like Russell Westbrook. I know who he is. I know he's a hot dog, but I love that he plays hard every day. I wish I could say the same for Durant. He doesn't. If Durant played as hard as Westbrook, his body would probably break down, 1, but 2, he would probably break Kareem's scoring record. No one plays as hard as Westbrook. No one's passionate. His problem is his passion and fucks is probably his greatest enemy too.
I do appreciate your boy Westbrook because he comes with that hot fire and he plays
every game. I wish every NBA player did that. They don't. He's the only player.
I think he espouses your boy General Butt Naked.
Once I'm naked, no bullet can affect me.
That's what General Butt Naked feels. Once I'm naked,
And that's
Once
what Westbrook
Russell
felt.
Westbrook walked on that court,
No, that's what he felt when he walked through the tunnel.
only racism can affect him. He's like, no bullets can affect me, but racism. He's like, Miss General Butt Naked, man, teach me that other part of your routine.
Once I'm naked, I could disappear.
He's like, no, you can't disappear. They still see you as a Negro.
Man, I love Westbrook. So I was just hot because the competition was just over. It was dead.